book I chose for my Beyond the Book project was Saving Bernice. Saving Bernice is the story of a woman who has battled and still is battling through the perils of domestic violence, poverty, and the welfare system. This book details the story of Bernice along with stories of other women and presents research on topics of domestic violence, poverty, and welfare. While reading this book, the wheels in my head started turning about this woman's story and how in some of my other classes the topic of poverty has been addressed and that there seems to be a feminization of poverty. So as my Beyond the Book project, I present to you this persuasive video about the feminization of poverty. Let me begin by giving you the definition of feminization of poverty. According to the International Poverty Center, the feminization of poverty is a change in poverty levels that is biased against women or female-headed households. Another definition is the overrepresentation of women among the poor. The definition can change in regards to individual definitions of feminization and poverty, but for the remainder of this video, the above definitions will be used. To give some background of the term feminization of poverty, will give you the root of the term. The term was originally created and used by Diane Pierce between the 1950s and the 1970s, and was used to describe the disproportionate representation of women in the thresholds of poverty relative to men. With that in mind, let us consider whether or not there is a feminization of poverty. Throughout my research, I have found evidence that there seems to be a debate about whether there is even a significant feminization of poverty. In an article by Marcrow, it is asserted that the feminization of poverty is not as significant as reported by statistics, and that further research and methods must be used to make inferences about the feminization of poverty. While I do agree that research must be done and that statistics must be accurately interpreted, I think that there is a feminization of poverty and that it is an issue that must be given significant attention. Supporting my thoughts on the feminization of poverty is the work done by Diane Pierce, websites working for the betterment of poverty, and the book Saving Bernice. All of these sources contain more recent figures on the rates of poverty among women and give information explaining why the rate of poverty is higher among women. To illustrate my point, take for instance the recent statistics reported by the Ladies of Charity website. 70% of the world's poor population is women. In the U.S., the rate for female poverty is 13.8%, while the rate for male poverty is 11.1%, and women are paid only 77% of what a male earns for the same work. So basically, when a man earns $1, a woman will earn 77 cents per hour of work. How is that equal? It's not. And when trying to support yourself in this country, 23 cents per hour makes a big difference. It's not like women can live in this world cheaper than men do. Women must eat food, pay rent, and buy some necessities just the same as men to survive, and that is why I think there is a feminization of poverty. So let us look at the causes of feminization of poverty. In an article by Pressman in 1988, he states that rises in the number of divorces, desires for independence, and the rise of the female-headed household are causes for the feminization of poverty. Besides the aforementioned reasons why there is a feminization of poverty, I believe that the wage differences mentioned in the debate discussion and the domestic violence are causes as well. In the book Saving Bernice that spread this topic, it was hinted at that domestic violence causes a culture of poverty among women. The feminization of poverty for some women is created through physical violence, isolation, being kept from working and on welfare, being denied an education, and other methods of control enacted by an abuser. The story of Bernice and other snippets of women's lives detailed in the book provide a clear picture, at least for me, of how domestic violence contributes to the feminization of poverty. So how do we fix the feminization of poverty? Well, there is no clear-cut answer for fixing such social problems of this type. There are strategies that may be implemented to help improve the feminization of poverty. An article by Mitchell and Mayo argues that education is a major key in reducing the feminization of poverty. Well, to me this seems to be a no-brainer. If people are educated, then they will have better employability, more access to jobs, and the skills to keep them out of poverty. Heck, that is why I'm in college. Solutions put forward in another article say to reform policies, but do not say how to, but rather just point out how perverse the current policies are. And last, another way to help to reduce the feminization of poverty, in my opinion, would be to reduce the wage gap experienced by women. By combining these few practices, the feminization of poverty should decrease.